Erev Tov Chavarim, I'm Stephen Ben-Nun. You're watching Israeli News Live. Been on the road this afternoon, and so getting in kind of late there, and just so much that is actually happening in the world. And of course, Venezuela, I think, is on everybody's mind right now. We saw where the aid convoy was set ablaze, and of course, it was blamed on Maduro's man, even though it was on the Colombian side. I thought it was interesting that Paul Ryan actually, or excuse me, former Congressman, Paul Ryan had shared on his own channel called the Liberty Report video footage showing that the protesters against Maduro were actually throwing Molotov cocktails, and one of those landed on the truck and set it on fire. Amid all of this, though, Sputnik is reporting that the U.S. aim in Venezuela is regime change, including military option, according to the Russian envoy to the United Nations. And he stated, "We beseech all states in the region, regardless of political affiliation, to firmly voice a rejection of threat and use of force," Nabanzia said Tuesday. But it looks like that the force is definitely going to be used, and it is headed in that direction very rapidly. We also know that some $30 billion worth of oil assets have been looted by the United States and the United Kingdom, according to the UN, Russian UN ambassador there. That money had been looted basically by the US and UK. That kind of goes in hand with intelligence that we had received from Israel that the oil was much more needed by the US than it was by the Venezuelan people. That's a little bit more blunt than what we hear out of John Bolton and Mike Pompeo, but nonetheless, seems like that they're not going to stop until they have fully taken over this nation. And although I know that Maduro is no altar boy, he is definitely no good leader, but nonetheless, we've made so much fuss over Russian collusion in the United States. I think it's about time we take some of our own medicine and quit meddling in other people's affairs around the globe. And that's not just limited either to Venezuela. By the way, this is also RT had reported here. They show that on one of these burnt out trucks, they had barbed wire, nails, etc. You know, it doesn't really sound like humanitarian aid. Maybe nails, yeah, if you need for construction material, but barbed wire, I don't know about that one right there. But anyway, the Venezuelan foreign minister showed that as well at the United Nations just recently. Also, we know that Pakistan and India, they are a very tense situation right now, and something that could easily turn volatile, which they're always back and forth over this Kashmir region anyway. So we just have to wait to see if this situation simmers down. And of course, we also know that Iran's, one of their leaders, I believe is Foreign Minister Zarif, has stepped down. And we were getting information that Khomeini, the Ayatollah, had actually requested a list of names of replacements. Some are saying that these were only a conspiracy theory that was going on, but there were names that were being listed. In fact, Nasrallah from Hezbollah was one of those names listed that was circulating on social media. But nonetheless, he is, I think, nearing 80 years old, and so it may be more than just speculation as far as he's concerned there. A couple other things I want to look at there. Also, the according to the National Public Radio, NPR, they put out Dutch Customs seized 90,000 bottles of Russian vodka allegedly bound for North Korea. Russia says it was bound for China, but it was kind of interesting, though, if it really was planning on going to North Korea. Kim Jong-un is meeting with President Donald Trump to try to denuclearize the peninsula there. No doubt, maybe if he was going to get all this, it was meant for a celebratorial celebration after this meeting with President Trump. Well, that might be cut just a bit short from what we're seeing here on this end here. And also another interesting thing too, the USS Donald Cook is in Odessa, Ukraine, to strengthen U.S.-Ukraine support to our military partnership during the visit. Special Representative of Ukraine reiterated strong U.S. support for Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity. Again, it is another show of force by the U.S. military that they don't care what Russia thinks. They're going to step in and support all their different operations that have been undertaken even in the past. As we know, the Maidan coup against Ukraine that toppled Yanukovych and put in the fake president, Petro Poroshenko. That's another one of those U.S. involvements of elections. That was under, of course, President Barack Hussein Obama. So you have to understand, it doesn't matter which president's in there, we're always involved in overthrowing democratically elected presidents and putting in someone else, some other little puppet to run the nation. And yet everybody complained about Russian collusion. Well, if there's Russian collusion or even Israeli collusion in our election, which was probably more realistic than it is Russian collusion, what does it really matter? You know, I mean, hey, didn't Yeshua himself say, if before you pull the mote out of your brother's eye or the beam that's in his eye, first take out that mote that's in your own eye, so you can see clearly to be able to help your brother. I think right now we've got a lot of beams in our eyes there trying to help other nations and putting all these sanctions out there and crippling nations and overthrowing them and destroying them, all in the name of democracy. Makes you wonder if democracy has not become imperialism. I'm Stephen Ben-Nun with Israeli News Live. Erev Tov.